Hello and welcome to D-Vlog and Devolution magazine, and we're here with a very, very special guest this wonderful sunny day in Halifax. We have Aaron here from My Dying Bride and High Parasite. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Cheers, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Chin chin. So, exciting times for you. I've been lucky enough to hear the High Parasite album, and it's classic UK metal, but in a modern way. It's everything. I remember, backtrack a bit to about a year ago when we last had an interview, which was in a curry house in Bradford.
It was.
And you just started talking about this project, I think it was.
Yeah, I must have done, yeah.
Yeah, and you're very excited about it. And you said Spinefarm had been interested and you were putting it all together. And here it is. So
it's finally arrived, yeah, after, well, a couple of years of hard work. In fact, I had a chat with Danny. Danny, who he's called Tombs. His stage name is Tombs. I said to him, when did the band form? When's our birthday? How many years are we into this? And he went back and found out the very first day. He emailed me one of his songs saying, Aaron, I've put some clean vocals on this, but I can't do death metal. Could you just throw some death metal vocals on it? I don't know where it's going. It doesn't have a name. It's just a bit of fun between me and you. Because I've known Danny for 20 odd years. He crewed for My Dying Bride for many, many years. He's Greg McIntosh's guitar tech.
Right.
He techs for New Model Army. He's been in the business forever. So we've known each other forever. And I just thought, yeah, okay, I'll stick some death metal vocals on that. No problem at all. And he finally went back through the emails and found it and said, July, 3 years ago.
Right.
And I was like, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Because we didn't want to grow up in public like a lot of bands do. You know, every week you're posting, oh, we're at rehearsals and it went well. Oh, song number one's coming along nicely. Oh, we finished song number one. Song number two. We didn't want to do that. We stayed fully under the radar. We recorded the demo in Manchester. I don't know what year. That we then sent to all the labels via a middleman, Dan Tobin.
Right.
Because we don't know the addresses of record labels. I know our label, but I don't know anybody else. So Dan.
It's been a while since you had to do that.
Yeah, Dan was a brilliant middleman, and Dan he got the offers in, and we went through them with the help of Andy Farrer from Northern Music, and Danny was already obsessed with Spinefarm. I didn't really know them, to be honest, but Danny loved a lot of bands on their label, and when that offer came in, he just went, that one, and we looked at it, and it was a really good offer, actually. So we got Andy Farrer to go through the rigmarole, the real nitty-gritty of it, and it came out to be a really good deal. So we signed that deal. They loved the demo. We signed the deal. We went and recorded the album. Greg from Paradise Lost plays some guitar on it. He does some special effects and stuff as well.
Cool.
I don't know how that works. And he produced the album as well. And again, all this was undercover. Greg produced it, yeah.
Wow.
And his wife, Heather, does the female vocals on it.
I noticed there was female vocals.
Yes, Heather does those female vocals. And it all came together. And then we were due to keep the name under the radar for just a little bit longer. But we nailed the Cradle of Filth tour.
Right.
And they knocked up the posters immediately, and our name was on it. And so people were saying, well, who the hell are these guys?
That? Yeah.
They've Googled us, they've Spotify'd us, we're nowhere. And someone, it must have been on the Cradles thing, or maybe a Butcher Babies thing, and they said, who the hell is this High Parasite? I've tried to search for them, can't find them anywhere. Underground as fuck. And we were thinking, okay, well, the cat's out the bag.
Right.
So then we started to drip feed some statics of the videos and stuff, and then the band popped out. It was only about a month earlier than we wanted to. We had a plan. We had to spring it early, but it worked out okay anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Accidental hype, which is always good, isn't it?
I know. Yeah. You can't plan that shit.
Well, you're sharing a label now with the kings of Mystique and Hype, Sleep Token.
Yes.
Also, your label mates now. So, and that was a PR campaign that everyone said, that sounds like commercial suicide, and turned out to be amazing.
I know. I'm trying to get into Sleep Token. I appreciate what they do, and they're doing whatever they do. They're doing it really well.
Really well.
And of course, I'm kind of thinking in my mind, so when are we going to support them on tour? And that might happen. I don't know, but that would be wonderful because they clearly have taken a few big steps up the ladder of success.
Fast.
Yeah, they're immense.
I was discussing at 2000 Trees with someone the other day that it's only a couple of years. It's quite amazing that only a couple of years ago they were playing for 20, 30 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they were very, very much an underground concern for a very long time. And that sort of sharp rise speaks volumes about the label as well, about how much support they put in and faith in something that was that far out as a marketing.
It is a little bit far out, isn't it? But yeah, the record label backed them all the way, and it has proved to be highly successful. And when we see the label and a band making those kind of waves, we're so glad that we've signed to what we consider the right label. If this is the kind of things they can do, then I think we're in safe hands.
If they're open-minded enough,
Yeah.
like that, because there has been a record company way for many, many years, and now people are sort of diversifying a little bit. The way music gets released has changed and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, absolutely. So with the album, one thing that really comes across, and do you find it's liberating to be doing some straight up headbangers?
It is, and I didn't realise I needed liberating. Because obviously everything I've done in My Dying Bride I've loved for 33 years or whatever. And I didn't know anything different. I've not been in any of the bands. So all I know how to do is write lyrics and sing for My Dying Bride. And my stage presence is only focused on My Dying Bride's live performances. And, you know, as we're doing this now, High Parasite, I've never played live. So I haven't got a clue what I'm going to be doing on stage.
Right.
It won't be, you know, the things that I do for My Dying Bride because it's not the same music. You know, the music drives your adrenaline, which drives your muscles, and off you go.
Yeah.
And the High Parasite music is quite, you know, it's quite pumping.
Yes, it is.
And I suspect I'll be quite pumped on stage, but I don't know. I don't want to make a fool of myself. But when the music's rattling away, you can't help but move to it. You've got to just
go with it.
You've just got to go with it. And I don't care what I look like. I don't care what I look like with My Dying Bride.
Yeah.
You know, I'm crying, I'm facing the wrong way, I'm on the floor,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. And it'll be a similar thing with High Parasite. But the lyrics are so much easier to learn, and Danny sings half the lyrics anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like I've got quite an easy job. You know, I started to think,
time off.
I'm starting to think, what about there's some of the passages in the songs where I'm not doing anything? What am I going to do on stage?
Have a drink of water.
Because I did think I'm going to get a tambourine and just do a bit of that, but everyone laughed and thought you can't do that. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing on stage. We'll just have to, that might develop. I'll be terrified for the first gig. Obviously, we'll be playing the entire album.
Yes.
And for the very first time, it will be the first gig, the first album for the very first time, and I will be terrified. All the boys will be terrified. But you just go with that adrenaline.
Absolutely.
Don't go crazy, because if it's going wild, I'm going to be diving in the crowd. I'm going to go nuts. So I hope there is a limit to the adrenaline rush. But these songs, I didn't know I needed to be there with them. And I've just felt really passionate about them. It's like, I don't know, it's like I've been in one room for a long, long time and just discovered a door, opened it, oh, there's another room.
Yeah, right.
But it's completely decorated in a different style.
Yeah.
Well, spend a bit of time here. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm doing, and I'm absolutely loving it.
I have to say the pace of the album is one of the first things that gripped me, especially after being, you know, I've been a My Dying Bride fan for a long, long time, and that shouldn't come into play at all, but your voice is very distinctive, so obviously I'm going to recognise that, but it's like all killer. Like there is no let off. It's very lean as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they are classic sort of pumping metal songs.
We're not reinventing the wheel here.
You're giving it a modern shine.
Well, yeah, and there's no epics. You know, with My Dying Bride, a 6-minute song was a single. With High Parasite, we purposely made them 3-4 minutes long.
Yeah.
Super catchy. We're hoping radio will love it. I mean, radio has not loved My Dying Bride. Of
course.
But you can understand why. The songs are difficult to get into. As brilliant as they are, you can't imagine people in the US driving to work, listening to My Dying Bride. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so with High Parasite, we thought, well, let's see if the American radios will like this kind of stuff.
Very
so
driving.
we've just written stuff that you nod to, you fucking bang your feet to, you want to get into it. It sort of makes you sit up and go, this is all right. And it's not just, in some places it's a bit bubblegummy, but there are some crushing riffs in there.
There's some big
really
riffs.
go for it. And then when the death metal vocals come in, I can just imagine a crowd of people just going like that. Fuck yes.
It'll be a good one for Wacken or something like that, those European festivals where I love pumping their fist in the air.
Yeah, and I've never, again, with My Dying Bride, people do actually sing along with My Dying Bride songs, but not in a sort of chorusy, blah, blah, blah. And I think with High Parasite, you'll see a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I've even spoken to Danny, and says, there might be a point where during one of the choruses, I might point the microphone at the crowd, and which I've never done with My Dying Bride. But they're two wonderful entities, similar because they're metal, but completely different in their approach. And so I will be doing things with High Parasite I never did with My Dying Bride, which makes perfect sense. Of course I would.
Absolutely. I've noticed when I've been at My Dying Bride shows that the thing that the crowd seems to sing along to, and you'll have obviously noticed it too, is the lead guitar parts. Those classic Andy, happy birthday Andy, Andy's classic lead parts, which are very unmistakably Andy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the same way sometimes when you see Iron Maiden, people sing along to the guitar lines there as well.
And there's nothing wrong with that, when Cry of Mankind starts.
That's it.
Everyone's doing it, it's like, can you stop? You're ruining it a little bit, because the people at the back, there's a slight delay, and it sounds messy, can you please stop? But I'm saying, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do.
Absolutely.
And I suspect there will be a lot more crowd feedback, and I will interact a bit more with the audience, because again, I'm terrified on stage with My Dying Bride, and I literally say good evening. I might introduce a couple of songs, and then I say thank you after some of them, and then good night. There's not a great deal of interaction going on.
Well, it's more theatre, isn't it? With My
and I
Dying
think
Bride?
that interaction would break the sort of the ambience of the evening. Whereas with High Parasite, again, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I suspect there'll be a lot more banter with the audience,
rock show.
Because it just feels it's going to be a rock show, and I'm quite looking forward to it in a nervous kind of way.
Absolutely. Now you're no stranger to different styles of live events. You did those recent ones with Ard, with the church organs and stuff. Made it onto mainstream television.
It certainly did. That was an unusual thing, because that was their first album. They played the whole of the first album. Of course, it's a story about St. Cuthbert, and Mark had written like an introduction to every song, and he asked me, could I narrate this, because it just gives the audience a bit more information about what's coming. So I would introduce each song, and it would be a different part of Cuthbert's journey and life. And with Dave Pipe playing the gigantic organ as well, it was so atmospheric, and it was incredible. And funnily enough, I've worked with Mark again recently. We were at Dark Earth Records in Liverpool on International Record Store Day. And because My Dying Bride had our new album out. And they had their album out, and we were sort of album of the season. Don't really sure what that means, but it was quite nice. And I was invited over to read my poetry out. And because that coincided with the My Dying Bride album, can you speak about that as well? So I did, and I read some poems out, and people loved it. And then Mark did some impromptu piano while I did another couple of, and it worked really, really well. So much so, there was a guy in the audience from Belgium who's now offered us, me, Mark, and Joe Quayle on cello, a gig in Antwerp on the 25th of January in a cathedral.
Oh, wow.
So not only have I got High Parasite, I've got poetry reading with music, which is something, again, I never experienced. Because I've written poetry for years. I've never shown it to anyone, never mind read it out in public. So when I read it out at that record store, I was understandably nervous, because they're a little window into your soul.
Absolutely.
And to be able to do that, I mean, at first I thought, this will be easy, because I don't have to remember them. I'm not going to be one of those poets who memorize everything. I'll just read it. But even then, I was trembling. I could see what was coming. I was thinking, oh God, this is an emotional.
This came from the heart, right?
Yeah, and I was thinking, I might have bitten off more than I can chew here. But I went through it anyway, and I was trembling a little bit, and the jaw was going, and then but it worked, and everyone was crying, and it was amazing. And so to be offered something further in a huge venue is going to be amazing. So me, Mark, and Joe Quayle are working on some things to put it all together, and I believe Dark Hurt are playing as well, and Sylvain. So it's going to be quite an artistic evening.
Excellent. I have to say, well, I'm feeling this too. There's an old, I mean, it's a cliche, but about life beginning at 40. Now, I'm 46, and obviously I've started doing a lot of different things later on in my life, like journalism and things like that. And I think there's a lot to be said for reaching, after 40 or whatever, and just going, hell, I don't care, I'll try anything I want to now.
Yeah, I think there is. It's not like you can see the end of your life on the horizon. No. You're thinking, I need to cram as much in as I possibly can. It's not like that. And you never know what's on the horizon unless you've got a really good master plan, which I never had. And as I say, it was just getting that email from Danny 3 years ago saying, I can't do death metal vocals. Can you stick some on this song? And I was thinking, of course I can.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going. I don't really care. It's a bit of fun. He's my mate, so I'll do it. He loved it. Of course, an email, can you do some singing on this one as well? So I did some more singing. And it just sort of evolved like that.
Yeah.
At no point did he say, do you want to be in High Parasite? And at no point did I say, can I be in High Parasite? We didn't even have a name. The name came from some of the lyrics. And it wasn't even a band. He did it all on his laptop.
Yeah.
And then I got an email a month or three later from him saying, I'm going to form a band.
Yeah.
And again, I'm thinking, all right, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
It's your thing. Go for it. And a few weeks later, I've got a band together. Brilliant. We're going to record a demo. All right, where and when I'll show up. And again, not thinking this is really going anywhere. I love the music.
But it wasn't a career move.
No, and I was thinking, well, good luck with this, mate, because these songs are good.
Defab.
So we went to Manchester, and we did the demo, and then I knew Dan Tobin because he used to work at Peaceville and Earache and everyone else. And so we sent him, it's not a tape. In the olden days, it was a tape. Now it's just a link. And he loved it. And he said, I know loads of labels that would love this stuff. And then we got the label. And again, at no point did anyone say, this is a band now. It just evolved and evolved and evolved. And we just happened to be a band. All of us, not all of a sudden, it took a while. And then I sort of thought, I think I'm in two bands now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think I'm in this band now, as well as My Dying Bride. Let's see how that rolls.
Yeah.
And I thought, can I juggle? I've never been in two bands before. And when you consider, quite often there's 3 or 4 years between My Dying Bride albums.
Yeah.
And My Dying Bride will only do about 10 or 15 shows a year.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, there's a lot of space to squeeze another band in there. And I thought, I can juggle 2 bands, no problem. Loads of people are in more than 2 bands.
Oh, yeah.
And they seem to cope with it fine. So I'm figuring, 2 bands, easy peasy.
Should be all right, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I think is one of the successes of the album, and there are many, is it's got those hard rock tendencies in it, which remind me of bands like The Cult and things like that. That kind of driving, the sort of driving, like gothic tinged rock that you did find around like the late 80s, early 90s. There's a bit Sisters in there as well, you know, and that really, like, I mean, I live in Leeds. It's kind of part of the birthright. You've got to like that stuff.
It's a given,
Yeah, gothy stuff in the north, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously preaching to the choir there.
When we were writing these songs, I wasn't writing the songs. Danny did it all. I wasn't writing anything. I can't play a single instrument, unfortunately, so I don't really write songs. And I said to Danny, how would you pigeonhole this? What genre are we? And he was saying, I don't really know, and it doesn't matter. Let's crack on with it. If we're enjoying ourselves, and since we've released it, people, the people have been coming back with Sisters, a bit of The Cure, a bit of The Cult, Paradise Lost, obviously. I mean, Greg's all over the thing, so of course. Even My Dying Bride get a shout.
Oh yeah,
Because of, obviously some of the vocals and some
Yeah.
of the riffs, perhaps from mid-period My Dying Bride. And again, other people saying it's a bit like 69 Eyes and something like that. And someone else mentioned, it's the new wave of gothic British metal. Have we restarted a scene? And I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe it could be all of the above. But I don't care. I don't need to pigeonhole it. I don't need to describe to people what style High Parasite is. They can make their own minds up.
I think that's one of the beauties of it, is it's not contrived to anything. It's if you've made the best music is made when your only aim is to make music.
Yeah.
Because there's no restrictions, there's no laws, there's no rules, and there's a thing about it which I always say I find it fascinating. There's 12 notes that you can use in any formation, but there's the way that you've used it has sounded northern, which I can't even put my finger on why those notes in that order would sound that way, but it does sound like the bands that you've mentioned, you know, and that gothic tinge to it. I don't know if it's minor keys and stuff like that. Who knows? But it works.
It does work, yeah.
But yes, it definitely feels like it's come from this area of the world.
That's good.
In the same way that, I think we touched on this on our previous interview, actually, where we said like New Model Army sounds like where it's from.
Yeah.
You know, and it's definitely got that geography of it.
Yeah, which is, it's good to hear that, because I wasn't sure if this had any sort of American twang to it. Because again, in My Dying Bride, I pronounced words as clearly as I possibly could, because we're an English band and I wanted an English sound. With High Parasite, I'm drawling my way through all the words. You know, it's almost slang. I mean, I'm slurring half the words, and I was a little bit weary of people thinking, why is he singing like an American? But I hope there's still enough Englishness in there to show where we're from geographically, and that we're not trying to copy stateside stuff.
Absolutely, it's unmistakably you. Like your voice is one of the most it's the most recognisable voices in metal, I would say. It's up there. It's up there with them. Same way you'd know Barney's voice anywhere, you'd know your voice anywhere, you'd know John Tardy's voice.
King Diamond.
Anyway. King Diamond, of course, the master. But so there is that unmistakable, like your vocal. It's definitely stamped all over it. It's a wonderful record. I implore everybody to go check it out. And I really can't wait to see it come to life live.